God says, you are on the verge of receiving the answer you cried for. Open this before it's redirected to someone else. My beloved child, something ancient, something divine, something burning with heavenly urgency is moving toward you right now, and Archangel Michael is stepping forward to speak over the very title you came here for. God says, you are on the verge of receiving the answer you cried for. Open this before it's redirected to someone else. Listen closely, because the moment you opened this message, the atmosphere around you shifted. A spiritual countdown you didn't even know existed started ticking. And Archangel Michael is revealing that heaven has been watching the cries you prayed in secret, the ones you thought no one heard, the ones that soaked your pillow, the ones you whispered to God when your heart felt too heavy to carry on. He says your tears were not ignored. Your waiting was not pointless. And your pain was not wasted. But now the veil is thinning. A divine answer is standing at your door, only a breath away from entering your life. But here's the part that heaven is urgently trying to show you. Your blessing is time-sensitive. Not because God is limited, but because heaven operates in appointed moments, spiritual windows that open for a short time and then close again. Archangel Michael is revealing that the answer meant for you is hovering in transition. It's like a letter in the spiritual realm with your name written on it, glowing, sealed, destined, but waiting for your spirit to rise in alignment so it can be delivered. This is why you were pulled to this message. Not by accident, not by curiosity, but by divine summons. Because heaven is saying, receive this now, before hesitation, doubt, or fear redirects what is meant for you. Your cries did not go unnoticed. You think your prayer was simple, but heaven says it shook realms. You think your tears were quiet, but Archangel Michael says they echoed across dimensions. You think nothing changed, but in the unseen, everything moved. And now, right at this moment, something is trying to reach you. A breakthrough. A release. An answered prayer you have been battling for far too long. But listen carefully, Archangel Michael is warning you that distractions have been sent your way to make you miss this divine window. The enemy tried to tie your spirit, tried to make you numb, tried to blind you with exhaustion so you wouldn't notice heaven opening above you. But you noticed. You opened this message. And that alone tells heaven that your spirit is still alive, still willing, still ready. Now Michael leans forward with a revelation. A shift is happening around you, subtle but powerful. The people who walked away did not disqualify you. The losses you suffered were not punishments. The delays you felt were not denials. They were alignments, resettings, divine repositioning. Heaven held your blessing until your heart was strong enough not to lose it again. And now, it is almost here. Closer than breath, closer than heartbeat, closer than the next sunrise. But the danger is this. If you slip back into fear, if you speak against yourself, if you shrink in doubt, you may step out of the alignment where this answer is destined to land. And heaven will not leave a blessing unassigned. If you don't receive it, it will move to the next open vessel. This message is your activation, your spiritual open door moment. Archangel Michael is here to awaken your awareness before the moment passes, before the enemy distracts you, before hesitation steals what heaven has already approved. He says, stand firm. The answer is yours, but your spirit must stay awake long enough to take hold of it. A divine package with your name is approaching, something you have cried for, waited for, begged for, almost given up on. It's not random. It's not delayed. It's not denied. It's arriving. And you are on the very edge of receiving it. Heaven is urging you not to step away now. Stay with this message, because the next revelation Michael releases will open your spirit to the exact moment heaven planned to deliver the breakthrough you asked for. Before this part closes, let your heart stay open. Let your spirit stay alert. Because what comes next carries the key to why your blessing is arriving now, and what you must do to hold it, secure it, and never lose it again. Hold on, the next unveiling will make everything clearer. Type "I claim my answer" in the comments if this stirred something in your spirit. Blessing code 1444 is now unlocked for those who receive this. Precious soul, another wave of heavenly truth is opening before you. And Archangel Michael is stepping forward again, his presence steady, protective, and sharper than the sword of truth he carries. He is watching you closely, because the moment you continued into this message, something in the spiritual realm confirmed that you are ready to hear what many never stay long enough to receive. This is not a coincidence. This is not ordinary. This is not just another message on a screen. This is a divine continuation of the revelation you were chosen to hear, and heaven is drawing you deeper, because the answer you cried for is closer than you think. Michael begins by revealing a mystery that most people misunderstand. Answers from heaven do not simply appear. They are formed. They are prepared. They go through stages in the unseen before reaching your physical life. You cried out to God for something so deep, so personal, so fragile, that you barely had the courage to say it aloud. And heaven heard you. Not just the words, but the emotion behind the words. The desperation behind the silence. The exhaustion behind the tears. And from that moment, a process began. But here is the part most people never realize. While God prepares the answer, the enemy prepares the obstacle. While heaven sends clarity, darkness sends confusion. While divine timing draws near, demonic distraction attempts to derail you. And Archangel Michael is revealing that lately, you have been experiencing exactly this. Waves of discouragement, sudden heaviness, strange moments of doubt, tiredness that hits your spirit harder than your body. All of it was meant to blur your vision just enough for you to miss the window heaven is opening right now. But you didn't miss it. Somehow, despite everything that tried to drain you, weaken you, distract you, you stayed spiritually sensitive. You stayed available. You stayed open. And that is why you are reading this message right now. Heaven does not waste revelation on closed hearts. Heaven sends Michael when someone is close to stepping into something life-shifting. And today, you are standing at the edge of a moment heaven has been preparing for years. Michael shows me a vision. It is as if you are standing before a door. You have knocked before. You have cried before. You have waited before. But now, for the first time in a long time, the door is finally unlocking. You do not see it yet, but the hinges are moving. The spiritual locks are clicking open. The answer is approaching with a speed that is surprising even to the angels assigned to you. And Michael is revealing that heaven has been battling fiercely on your behalf, because the blessing destined for you carries weight. It carries purpose. It carries breakthrough not only for you, but for the people connected to you. That is why the battle has been intense, because the enemy knows the impact of the blessing that is coming. And now heaven is saying something incredibly important. You must stay spiritually awake in this season. The answer is on the verge of reaching you, but the enemy would love to send one more distraction, one more wave of discouragement, one more unexpected setback to push you into hopelessness just long enough for you to let go of what is nearly in your hands. Heaven does not want you to lose what it has already released. Michael leans closer, and his words come through like thunder wrapped in gentleness. Stand firm, child of God. You are closer than you have ever been. Do not let the final stretch intimidate you. The pressure you feel is not a warning to stop. It is a sign that the breakthrough is near. There is another revelation Michael wants you to understand. The answer you cried for is not coming in a small, subtle, quiet way. It is coming with force. It is coming with clarity. It is coming with the kind of undeniable shift that makes you say, only God could have done this. Because you were not praying for something ordinary. You were crying for something that required divine intervention. Something beyond human power, beyond human timing, beyond human reasoning. And because of that, heaven is delivering it in a way that will leave no room for confusion. You will know it is from God. You will feel it in your spirit. You will recognize it immediately. Michael also reveals that the reason your blessing was not redirected yet is because your heart has remained tender toward God. You may have doubted yourself, but you did not abandon your faith. You may have felt exhausted, but you still whispered your prayers. You may have been disappointed, but you still kept your heart open. Heaven sees these things. Heaven rewards these things. Heaven honors these things. This is why the answer still belongs to you. This is why it has not been assigned to someone else. This is why heaven is urging you to stay present, stay expectant, stay aligned, because you are in the final stretch of receiving something that will change the direction of your story. But Michael warns again, do not disconnect now. There is more you must hear, more you must understand, more that heaven is trying to reveal before the blessing arrives in full. And so, beloved soul, take a breath and stay close to this message. The next revelation carries a key that will guide you into the timing, the posture, and the spiritual alignment needed to fully receive what you asked heaven for. You are not just reading, you are being prepared. Before we move forward, let your spirit remain open, because what comes next will connect the missing pieces. Type "I stay in alignment" in the comments if your spirit is receiving this. Blessing code 2288 is now active for those who open their hearts to this message. Beloved heart, breathe deeply, because as we step into this next unfolding, Archangel Michael is drawing even closer, and the atmosphere around you is shifting once again. There is a reason heaven has led you into this exact moment, into this exact message, into this exact continuation. Very few people move beyond the surface. Very few stay long enough to reach the level where revelation becomes transformation. But you did. Something in you is hungry. Something in you is ready. And Archangel Michael is acknowledging that readiness with divine seriousness. He begins by revealing something profound. The reason your answer is so close is because you have reached the spiritual threshold where heaven says, enough waiting. The delays that once surrounded you were not denials. They were shields. Shields that protected the blessing from reaching you too early, while you were still surrounded by people who could have misused it, misunderstood it, or manipulated it. Heaven was not just preparing an answer. Heaven was preparing you to carry the answer without losing it. Michael shows a vision. It is you standing in a dimly lit room, surrounded by closed doors. You have knocked on many of them. Some opened briefly, and then shut again. Some remained closed no matter how much faith you poured into them. Some looked right, but weren't aligned with your destiny. And yet, right now, in this moment, a single door is glowing brighter than the rest. It is the door meant for you. The door heaven has chosen. The door connected to the very cry you released in your darkest hour. And Michael says this door will not open for anyone else. It carries your spiritual signature. It is tied to your unique path, your unique tears, your unique prayers. But this is where heaven brings you into deeper truth. Before this door opens fully, the spiritual battle intensifies. You may have noticed moments recently where you felt more tired than usual, more uncertain than usual, more quiet than usual. You may have noticed random frustrations, unexpected delays, confrontations you weren't looking for, or emotions you couldn't explain. These were not coincidences. They were spiritual attempts to weaken your expectation right before your blessing arrives. Michael reveals that the enemy always fights hardest when heaven is about to break the pattern. And that is exactly what is happening for you. A pattern is breaking. A cycle is ending. A spiritual resistance is collapsing. The answer you cried for is not just coming. It is coming in a way that shifts your internal structure. You will not go back to who you were. You will not return to old doubts. You will not operate from old wounds. You are entering a chapter where God reveals why you suffered, why you waited, why the timing mattered so deeply. Heaven is emphasizing something extremely important. You must guard your expectation. Expectation is the landing place for the blessing. If you expect loss, anxiety grows. If you expect disappointment, doubt increases. But if you expect divine movement, heaven aligns with your faith. Archangel Michael is commanding your spirit to rise again, not in fear, not in desperation, but in trust. The answer you cried for is not fragile. It cannot be stolen. It cannot be redirected as long as your spirit remains awake. Michael reveals another layer. Heaven has been rearranging people in your life. Some were removed for your protection. Some were distant so you wouldn't rely on them more than God. Some were exposed so you could see clearly who was with you and who was merely near you. These shifts were not punishments. They were preparations. Because when your answer arrives, not everyone will be able to walk with you through the next chapter. Only those who honor your calling, your growth, your spiritual elevation will remain. Heaven is saying something that may sting but is necessary. You cannot bring old patterns into a new blessing. The version of you who cried out for help is not the same version who will receive the answer. God has allowed your spirit to expand, your faith to deepen, your discernment to sharpen. You will not mishandle what is coming. Archangel Michael stands in full authority and declares that the door is opening soon. But he adds a warning: do not disconnect from this spiritual alignment. This message is not here to inspire you momentarily. It is here to position you permanently. You are being prepared to receive something that has generational impact. Something that changes the energy around you. Something that introduces you to a new atmosphere of favor. You may feel like everything is stretching you right now, but heaven reveals that the stretch is the final stage before the shift. There is a divine tightening in your spirit because your breakthrough is pressing into your reality. And Michael says, hold the line. Heaven is not late. Heaven is precise. Before we step into the next revelation, absorb this truth. You are not abandoned, overlooked, or forgotten. You are being delivered into divine timing. The answer you cried for is already moving toward you. Every second brings it closer. And the next part of this message will expose the forces that tried to block it and why they fail. Wait for what comes next, because it carries the strategy for keeping your blessing once it arrives. This is where the revelation deepens. Type "I open my door" in the comments if these words are speaking directly to your spirit. Blessing code 5511 is now released for those who receive this message. Like, share, comment, and make sure you subscribe for more prophetic messages that keep your spirit aligned. Your engagement helps this message reach more souls who desperately need a word from heaven. When God brings you to the edge of a breakthrough, He also invites you to become a carrier of light for others who are still in the dark. Right now, as heaven prepares the very answer you cried for, your support becomes a seed that opens doors for countless souls longing for the same hope. Just as rivers flow from a single source, your giving becomes a stream of mercy that reaches those who cannot reach for themselves. I feel led to say this to you personally. God is stirring your heart for a purpose, and when you act, it becomes a prophetic yes in the spiritual realm. The title of this message speaks of answers being redirected. Your support ensures that no soul misses the message meant for them. This moment is not about donation. It is about obedience, alignment, and creating a harvest that heaven remembers. As you sow, may God multiply your gift with open heavens, fresh oil, and divine clarity over your own life. Step into your obedience now, through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and unlock what heaven is releasing over givers in this hour. Chosen soul, the heavens draw you deeper as we step into this next unveiling, and Archangel Michael stands firmly beside you, sword lifted, presence unwavering. The moment you continued into this part, a spiritual confirmation echoed through the realm of light, because every step you take into this message is a step away from confusion and a step toward clarity. You are not wondering anymore. You are not guessing. You are being guided. Heaven is leading you with deliberate intention, because the answer you cried for is not only approaching, you are being shaped to recognize it the moment it arrives. Michael begins with a truth that most people fail to understand. Every answered prayer has a spiritual path, and that path requires your awareness. You are not just waiting, you are being aligned. You are not just hoping, you are being positioned. You are not just praying, you are being prepared. And this preparation is not punishment, it is elevation. Everything you endured, everything you questioned, everything that felt like breaking, was actually heaven clearing the space around you, so nothing would interfere with what God is about to place in your hands. In the unseen realm, Michael reveals a powerful image. You're standing in a field at dawn. The night behind you looks heavy, long, endless, but the horizon before you is shifting with light. Heaven wants you to understand that you are spiritually standing between seasons. The night season, the one filled with tears, confusion, delays, and silent prayers, is behind you. You survived it. You outlasted it. And now the first rays of your breakthrough are rising. But dawn is tricky because it can feel like a mixture of both darkness and light. You may find yourself feeling hopeful one moment and weary the next. You may feel like something good is coming without having the full evidence yet. This is not instability. This is transition. Archangel Michael leans closer and reveals that the reason your spirit feels stretched right now is because heaven is finalizing details concerning your breakthrough. What you asked for required movement in multiple realms. People needed to be shifted. Situations needed to be rearranged. Paths needed to be cleared. Timing had to be perfected. Heaven works with precision, and when the blessing is significant, the preparation is greater. You did not ask God for something small. You asked for something life-changing. Something that alters your direction. Something that impacts not just you, but those connected to you. And because of that, heaven has been orchestrating more than you realize. There is something else Michael reveals. Recently, you may have noticed flashes of doubt rising unexpectedly. You may have questioned whether you misheard God. You may have wondered if you were asking for too much. You may have felt waves of insecurity, like you were unworthy of the blessing. These emotional waves were not coming from your spirit. They were spiritual interference. Forces sent to weaken your expectation. Forces trying to make you release what heaven already prepared. But the reason those doubts did not take root is because heaven has placed a shield over your heart. And Michael himself has been guarding your faith, ensuring that the seeds God planted in you would not be stolen. Heaven now brings you into another revelation. The answer you cried for is multi-layered. It is not one blessing. It is a collection of shifts that create one outcome. You may have prayed for one thing, but God is about to bring you more than what your words expressed. Heaven is releasing clarity, favor, provision, healing, realignment, and divine order. You were asking for one door to open, but heaven is preparing to open multiple, some small, some large, some unexpected, some connected to things you forgot you prayed for. And now Michael speaks with intensity. Prepare to be surprised by God. The answer will not come in the predictable way. It will not appear in the way your mind imagines. It will not follow your logic. It will follow God's wisdom. Heaven delights in revealing blessings in ways that remind you of divine sovereignty. You will know this is God, because the timing will be too perfect, the opportunity too precise, the shift too supernatural to be coincidence. But here is the warning that Michael stresses. Do not let impatience close your spirit. Impatience is the enemy's final attempt to sabotage a divine moment. When your blessing is close, the urge to give up often becomes strangely strong. When heaven is moving, the enemy tries to convince you that nothing is happening. But Michael says this urge is the clearest sign that something is on the edge of manifesting. If you push through this final stretch, you will step into what you have been crying for. If you retreat, the blessing will still exist, but it will be delayed once more. Heaven is urging you to hold steady. Michael shows me a vision of a rope being pulled at both ends. On one end is your faith. On the other is the pressure you've been feeling. The rope is tight, but it is not breaking, because you are stronger now. Your spirit is more mature now. You are more aligned now. Heaven is not asking you to fight harder. Heaven is asking you to remain steady, to keep your heart open, to stay connected to revelation, to continue absorbing the messages heaven is sending through this very moment. As you move forward into the next unfolding, understand this. You are not in the stage of asking anymore. You are in the stage of receiving. And receiving requires awareness. It requires sensitivity. It requires the ability to recognize divine timing. Everything you are sensing right now is not random. It is heaven rehearsing your spirit for manifestation. Before we go deeper into the next message, let this truth anchor you. Nothing can steal what God has marked for you. Nothing can intercept what heaven has assigned to your name. Nothing can redirect your blessing as long as you stay aligned. Hold your place. Something powerful is about to unfold in the next part. Type "I hold my position" in the comments if your spirit is in agreement. Blessing code 3344 is now open for those who receive this word. Sacred Heart, as we move into this next unveiling, Archangel Michael steps forward with even greater clarity, and the air around this message becomes charged with divine intention. There is a reason your spirit has stayed connected this far. There is a reason you have not turned away. Heaven is drawing you deeper, because the next layer of revelation is not for the casual listener. It is for the one who has cried, endured, survived, and remained faithful even when everything around them looked silent. This is your moment of awakening. This is your moment of understanding. And Michael is here to guide you into a truth that will shift your perception of why the answer you cried for took the shape it did. Michael begins with a powerful revelation. Your journey has not been about waiting for God to move. It has been about God preparing the environment for what He is about to deliver. Heaven was not ignoring you. Heaven was organizing. Heaven was positioning. Heaven was clearing away spiritual blockages you did not even know existed. And the reason your breakthrough is so close now is because the atmosphere around your life, both seen and unseen, has finally aligned with the answer meant for you. Michael shows a vision, you standing on a bridge suspended between two lands. Behind you is a terrain marked by disappointments, unanswered questions, and seasons of heaviness that shaped your character in ways you never recognized. Ahead of you is a land filled with clarity, open paths, and unexpected blessings waiting to be discovered. But here's the mystery. You are not meant to sprint across this bridge. You are meant to walk with awareness, because every step reveals something about yourself that is necessary for the next chapter. You are crossing spiritually. You are transitioning mentally. You are stepping out of the version of yourself that once prayed in desperation and stepping into the version of yourself that receives with confidence. And Michael says something remarkable here. The you who cried for help is not the same you who will receive the answer. Heaven has been reshaping your inner world so that when the answer arrives, you will not sabotage it with old wounds or old fears. You will not push it away out of unworthiness. You will not mishandle it out of emotional exhaustion. You will not lose it because you are unsure of your own value. Heaven needed your heart healed. Heaven needed your identity lifted. Heaven needed your faith stabilized. And now those internal battles have brought you into a new level of readiness. There is another layer Michael reveals. The delays you experienced were actually strategic detours. They were not accidents. They were not failures. They were divine reroutings, preventing you from entering spaces where your blessing would have been devalued or resisted. Every time you thought something was falling apart, heaven was actually pulling you away from what would have harmed your calling. Every time a door closed unexpectedly, heaven was shielding you from unseen toxicity, hidden agendas, or spiritual interference. You were protected even in your confusion. Michael continues with urgency. There has been a spiritual shift in your environment. Certain energies that once weighed you down have lifted. Certain conversations no longer affect you the way they once did. Certain emotional attachments no longer pull you backward. These signs are proof that heaven has moved you into a new atmosphere, one where your blessing can land without spiritual contamination. Your spirit may have been sensitive lately, sensing something approaching, something changing, something growing, even if you cannot see it yet. That sensitivity is not anxiety, it is discernment. Heaven is brushing against your spirit, signaling that the answer is nearly here. You are feeling the proximity of what you asked for. It is not far. It is not delayed. It is not uncertain. It is close, so close that your spirit can feel its shadow before it arrives. Michael shows another vision, a large seed cracking open underground. You prayed for the plant, but heaven had to work beneath the soil first. You could not see the progress. You could not measure the growth. You could not predict the timing. Yet the cracking was happening. The roots were forming. The foundation was strengthening. And now, the seed is breaking through the surface. What you asked for is emerging, rising, taking shape. But here is where heaven gives both a comfort and a warning. As the breakthrough rises, do not let despair from past seasons contaminate your expectation. You are stepping into a new season, but old memories may still try to whisper lies. They may try to convince you that things will repeat themselves, that blessings will not last, that you are not meant for abundance. These whispers come from the remnants of old battles, not from God. Heaven tells you to release any emotional residue trying to cling to you. And now Michael speaks firmly. Your answer is approaching. Do not let the past define how you receive the future. The blessing that is coming carries a different weight. It carries divine permanence. It carries protection. It carries purpose. It cannot be cancelled by fear, stolen by people, or redirected by time. It was shaped for you, preserved for you, and heaven has assigned it to arrive in this very chapter of your life. You must stay spiritually present. You must stay connected. You must stay aware. Because in the next revelation, heaven will expose the exact sign that appears right before your breakthrough manifests physically. This sign is crucial because it will confirm that everything is aligning in real time. Stay with the message. What comes next will guide you into full spiritual readiness. Type "I'm ready to receive what's mine" in the comments if your spirit feels the truth of this unfolding. Blessing code 6199 is now released over those who embrace this revelation. Beloved one, as we enter this new movement of revelation, Archangel Michael's presence intensifies once more, surrounding you with a calm but powerful certainty. There is a divine reason you have been able to continue with such focus. There is a reason your heart has stayed open. Heaven is not leading you through this message casually. Heaven is escorting you step by step into the spiritual alignment required for the answer you cried for to fully manifest. What you are receiving right now is not just information. It is preparation. And Michael is here to unveil a truth that will shift the way you see every moment leading up to this one. Michael begins with a profound statement. Breakthrough always announces itself before it appears. In the spiritual realm, nothing arrives without a signal. Heaven always reveals signs to the ones who are paying attention. And you, chosen soul, have been noticing subtle shifts, moments that felt out of the ordinary, feelings that rose unexpectedly, sudden inner nudges that came without explanation. You may have brushed these moments aside, thinking they were coincidences or random emotions. But heaven now clarifies that these were signals, indicators that your blessing is approaching, that the atmosphere around you has been shifting in ways your physical eyes cannot fully see. Michael reveals that before an answer arrives, your spirit becomes sensitive to movement in the unseen. This is why you have felt moments of heaviness followed by moments of hope. This is why you have sensed a strange pull toward spiritual messages lately. This is why your intuition has been sharper, your awareness deeper, your inner world more stirred than usual. Heaven was preparing your spirit to recognize the nearness of what is coming. Michael shows a vision. It is as if you are standing in a hallway with multiple doors. For a long season, every door felt locked. You tried to open them. You prayed. You knocked. You waited. You tried again. And for a while, nothing happened. But now, in this vision, one of the doors is slightly ajar. Not open, not swinging wide, just cracked enough to show light slipping through. Heaven reveals that this crack is symbolic. It represents the small moments in your life recently where you felt hope re-enter you without warning, where you sensed that something new was coming but could not define it, where your spirit felt a quiet whisper saying, "Get ready." That whisper came from the open crack in the door of your breakthrough. But here is where Michael shifts the revelation deeper. He reveals that in the hours, days, or weeks before a major breakthrough, there is a spiritual test, a final spiritual resistance designed to see whether you will collapse under old patterns or rise into new identity. You may have recently experienced strange discouragement, unexpected frustration, sudden emotional dips, or even unexplained conflict. These were not setbacks. These were indicators that you were nearing the boundary between your old season and your new one. The closer you get to breakthrough, the louder the resistance becomes. But not because the blessing is at risk, because the enemy fears what will happen once you receive it. Michael stands tall and declares, "You have passed the tests." You may not feel victorious. You may not feel strong. You may not feel like someone who overcame anything significant. But heaven sees your endurance differently. Heaven sees that you did not walk away. Heaven sees that you did not shut down your faith. Heaven sees that you did not abandon hope. Even when you felt exhausted, even when doubts tried to suffocate your spirit, even when nothing looked promising, you stayed connected. You stayed open. You stayed receptive. That, beloved soul, is victory. Now Michael reveals another powerful truth. The answer you cried for is not coming as a small shift. It is coming as a divine interruption. It is coming to break patterns, to alter the atmosphere around you, to change the story you have been carrying. And heaven says you are now close enough to this breakthrough that you will begin to notice an increase in spiritual sensitivity. Your dreams may become more vivid. Your thoughts may feel sharper. You may feel sudden clarity, sudden peace, or even sudden release from things that once held emotional weight. These sensations are not random. They are the spiritual equivalent of hearing footsteps approaching before someone enters the room. Michael also reveals that the blessing coming to you carries restoration. Not just fulfillment, not just relief, restoration. Pieces of your heart that were damaged, parts of your identity that were shaken, areas of your life that felt broken beyond repair. Heaven is weaving restoration into the breakthrough. You will not just receive the answer, you will receive healing through the answer. Heaven now directs your attention to a deeper truth. The answer you cried for was never just about solving a problem. It was about elevating your purpose. You asked for one thing, but heaven is sending something greater. Something layered. Something that addresses not only the surface issue, but the spiritual foundation beneath it. This is why the waiting felt long. This is why the warfare felt heavy. This is why the process felt draining. Heaven was preparing something that required more than a yes. It required restructuring. Michael now warns gently, but firmly, do not confuse silence with absence. The reason heaven seemed silent for a season is because heaven was working behind the scenes in ways you were not meant to see. Some blessings require privacy during development. Some breakthroughs must be formed away from interference. God hid the process so that no opposing force could intercept the outcome. As we approach the next revelation, Michael urges you to stay fully present. The next layer will reveal what you must do to stabilize the blessing once it arrives. Because receiving is only the first step, maintaining requires wisdom and spiritual alignment. Stay close. What comes next is crucial. Type "I recognize the signs" in the comments if this word speaks directly to your spirit. Blessing code 4411 is now active for those who receive this revelation. Beloved Spirit, as we move into this next unfolding, Archangel Michael steps forward with a depth of clarity that signals we are entering the core of this divine message. The closer we move to the heart of this revelation, the more intentional heaven becomes in guiding your attention, your emotions, and your spiritual posture. You are no longer standing at the edge of understanding. You are stepping directly into the center of it. Michael is here not only to reveal what is coming, but to prepare you to hold it, protect it, and grow into it. What is being delivered to you in this moment is shaping the very way you will step into the next phase of your destiny. Michael begins by revealing something profound. The breakthrough you have been waiting for is not just an answer. It is a shift in identity. You will not be the same person after this blessing arrives. You will think differently. You will feel differently. You will move differently. Heaven is not giving you a blessing that sits on the surface of your life. Heaven is releasing something that reaches into the deepest layers of your soul. This is why the preparation has felt intense. This is why your spirit has been stretched. This is why certain old wounds resurfaced only to be healed again. Heaven was removing everything that could not survive in the elevation you were stepping into. Michael reveals a vision of a large gate made of light. It is tall, wide, and radiant, and behind it stands a realm of clarity, peace, stability, and divine alignment. The gate is slightly open, just enough for light to spill out. Heaven explains that this gate represents the transition between who you were and who you are becoming. You have not only been waiting for an answer, you have been waiting for this gate to open. And now, it is opening. But there is something heaven wants you to understand clearly. You cannot enter this gate carrying the burdens of the past season. The gate is not narrow because heaven wants to restrict you. It is narrow because heaven wants to refine you. Michael speaks with authority. Let go of what weakened you. Release what drained you. And step forward with the strength you did not know you carried. The answer coming your way is not meant to land on a weary spirit. It is meant to land on a ready one. Heaven did not prepare this blessing for a version of you that was still tied to old disappointments. Heaven prepared it for the version of you that has learned resilience, wisdom, discernment, and emotional maturity. The waiting was not punishment, it was strengthening. Heaven now reveals a powerful truth. Right before a major breakthrough, God allows you to see the final remnants of what you must release. This is why you may have recently felt sudden irritation with old patterns, sudden disinterest in old connections, or sudden clarity about certain relationships. You may have noticed that things you tolerated before now feel heavy or misaligned. You may have felt the urge to detach emotionally from certain people or situations. These sensations were not random, they were spiritual alerts telling you your season with this has ended. Heaven wanted you to release things gently rather than watching them fall apart. Michael emphasizes that your path is being purified, not emptied. You are not losing people or situations because of failure. You are outgrowing them because heaven is expanding you. What you prayed for requires space, emotional capacity, and spiritual grounding. Heaven cannot place a divine blessing in a crowded room. Some things had to leave so that what is coming can stand in full strength. Now Michael reveals the deeper layer. Your answer is coming with instructions. Heaven is not just giving you the blessing. Heaven is giving you the guidance to protect it. Many people receive breakthroughs, but lose them because they do not understand how to hold them. But you, chosen soul, are being given insight before manifestation. Heaven does not want you to repeat old cycles. Heaven wants you to walk in sustained elevation. This is why Archangel Michael now brings your attention to your discernment. He is sharpening your spirit. He is increasing your sensitivity. He is preparing you to recognize what is from God and what is merely a distraction. When your breakthrough comes, not everyone will celebrate. Some will misunderstand you. Some will reappear to pull you backward. Some will try to tap into the blessing meant for you. But heaven is training your eyes, your heart, and your intuition to see beyond the surface. You will not be fooled. You will not be drained. You will not be misled. You will walk in clarity. Michael reveals one more truth that is crucial for you to understand. The answer you cried for has been approved, but your spirit must be aligned for the final delivery. This does not mean you need perfection. It means you need awareness. You need to stay spiritually present. Heaven is positioning you to recognize the exact moment the blessing enters your life. There will be a shift, a sign, a sudden moment of clarity where you will feel something open inside you. When that moment comes, you will know without question that your waiting season has ended. You are being prepared not just to receive, but to transform. The answer is not coming to change one area of your life. It is coming to shift the entire trajectory of your future. Heaven is not giving you temporary relief. Heaven is giving you a generational shift. Before we move into the next revelation, let your spirit rest in the truth that you are ready. Everything you have endured has prepared you. Everything you have survived has built you. Everything you have prayed for is already in motion. Hold your place, beloved soul. The next unfolding will reveal why heaven chose this exact timing for your breakthrough. Type "I step forward" in the comments if your spirit is aligned with this message. Blessing code 7720 is released over those who receive this word. Beloved vessel of light, as we step into this next unveiling, Archangel Michael stands before you with a seriousness that signals we have reached a turning point in your spiritual journey. This part carries weight, depth, and divine urgency. Heaven has led you through layers of understanding, through revelations that peeled back the hidden workings of your breakthrough, but now you are being moved into a higher vibration of clarity. You are no longer receiving glimpses. You are receiving direction. You are no longer observing signs. You are stepping into alignment. And Michael is here to assure that nothing interferes with the blessing that is approaching you with unstoppable momentum. Heaven begins by revealing something deeply significant. The timing of your breakthrough is not random. It is not delayed. It is not uncertain. It is precise. You are entering the moment that heaven has been preparing you for across seasons of stretched faith, quiet endurance, emotional pruning, and spiritual strengthening. Every tear, every moment of confusion, every unanswered question served a purpose, because the answer coming your way is not designed to satisfy a moment. It is designed to shift your life. Archangel Michael reveals a powerful vision. You standing at the entrance of a valley. Behind you is the long journey you walked through, the hardships that shaped you, the internal battles you conquered, the losses that refined you, and the hidden prayers you prayed with trembling hands. Ahead of you is a wide path lined with golden light, a symbol of open opportunities, divine clarity, and restoration. Heaven shows this not as a metaphor, but as a spiritual reality. You are transitioning between what hurt you and what will elevate you, between what drained you and what will strengthen you, between what broke you and what will rebuild you. Michael speaks with profound authority. The answer is not coming to patch your wounds. It is coming to complete your healing. Many times, you prayed for relief, for a sign, for a solution, for something to ease the heaviness you carried. But heaven reveals that the breakthrough ordained for you does not merely address the symptom. It addresses the root. You asked for one thing, but God is sending more. You asked for a door to open, but heaven is preparing a corridor. You asked for a shift in one area, but heaven is orchestrating transformation across multiple areas simultaneously. Michael shows another vision, a large scroll unrolling in the spiritual realm. The scroll contains elements of your destiny, moments of divine alignment, and opportunities that have been written with your name etched into the margins. Heaven reveals that some of the blessings you are about to receive were written years ago, long before you understood your calling, long before you recognized your spiritual sensitivity, long before you endured the hardships that shaped you into who you are today. These blessings were suspended, not denied, waiting for you to grow into someone who could carry them with wisdom and protect them with confidence. This is why the journey felt long. This is why the process felt heavy. This is why the waiting felt endless. Heaven was not withholding. Heaven was preparing. And now the preparation is complete. Heaven is saying, you are ready. You are aligned. You are positioned. But Michael reveals something crucial. The moment of breakthrough is near. Distractions attempt to rise. Not because you are weak, but because your spiritual light intensifies the closer you get to destiny. You may have noticed unusual moments of fatigue, sudden emotional triggers, or small conflicts that felt unnecessary. These were not accidents. They were attempts to shake your focus. Heaven wants you to understand that your awareness is your greatest shield right now. When you recognize the enemy's pattern, the pattern loses power. Heaven now reveals the central truth of this part. Your breakthrough is protected. What is coming cannot be stolen, redirected, or intercepted. Heaven has placed a seal over the blessing assigned to you. Michael stands as the protector of your destiny, ensuring that nothing delays what heaven has already approved. You do not need to fear sabotage. You do not need to fear loss. You do not need to fear repetition of past disappointment. You are stepping into a chapter governed by divine order, not human interference. Michael also reveals that peace is about to enter your life in ways you have not experienced in years. This peace will not be temporary or fragile. It will be rooted, deep, and stable. You will begin to feel clarity where confusion once lived, ease where tension once pressed, and confidence where doubt once whispered. This peace is the first visible sign that your breakthrough is unfolding in real time. Before we move into the next revelation, heaven urges you to hold your position, because the next unfolding will expose the exact shift that happens when heaven releases something that changes everything. You are close, closer than you realize. Type "I walk into my NEW season" in the comments if your spirit receives this message. Blessing code 8788 is released over those who open their hearts to this word. Like, share, comment, and subscribe so this divine message can reach others who are waiting for the same breakthrough heaven is preparing for you. Your engagement helps this mission reach souls that need light in their darkest hour. When God brings you to the threshold of your breakthrough, He invites you to become a vessel through which His light reaches others on their journey. As heaven prepares to deliver the answer you cried for, your support becomes a divine seed that opens spiritual doors for countless souls longing for the same hope. Just as oil overflows from one vessel to bless many, your giving becomes the river that carries God's comfort to those who have none left. I feel a stirring from the Spirit to tell you this directly. Your heart is being moved because God Himself is calling you into alignment with His Word. The theme of this message speaks of blessings being redirected. Your support ensures that no soul misses the word that was meant to save them. When you sow into this mission, it becomes a prophetic act, unlocking favor, protection, and supernatural clarity over your own life. As you give, may God release fresh oil, open heavens, and divine acceleration into your path. Move now with authority, through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, and let your obedience activate what heaven has already prepared for you. Beloved seeker of truth, as we move into this next unfolding, Archangel Michael steps even closer, and the realm of the Spirit grows heavy with purpose. You have crossed beyond the surface level of this message. You have moved past the space where most people stop. Your endurance, your willingness to stay present, your hunger for clarity, these have positioned you to receive a revelation that only the spiritually awake are ready to hear. Heaven draws you deeper now, not to overwhelm you, but to anchor you in a truth that will prepare your spirit for the moment your breakthrough physically manifests. Michael begins with a piercing revelation. The answer you cried for is not approaching randomly. It is approaching because you have finally stepped into the spiritual frequency required to attract it. Blessings are not merely given, they are drawn. They respond to alignment, to readiness, to the quiet whisper of a heart that has surrendered its fear. Heaven wants you to understand that your prayers did not pull the blessing toward you. Your transformation did. As your character shifted, your environment changed. As your faith grew, your spiritual capacity expanded. As your discernment deepened, your atmosphere became fertile ground for manifestation. Heaven cannot pour new oil into an old vessel, and you are no longer old. You have become new in ways you did not even recognize. Michael reveals a vision, you standing in a chamber filled with mirrors. But these mirrors do not reflect your outward image. They reflect your inner growth. They show your resilience, your maturity, your increased awareness. They show the wounds that once weakened you, but now serve as signs of your strength. They show the emotional storms you endured that taught you clarity, patience, and trust. Heaven reveals that you have outgrown the version of yourself that once prayed in fear, and you have stepped into the version of yourself that prays with authority. You may not feel powerful, but heaven sees you as one who has endured the refining fire without breaking. Michael now brings you into a deeper layer. The spiritual resistance you felt in the past was not proof that God was far. It was proof that you were close. The pressures that came against you were the echoes of a breakthrough trying to enter your life. The frustration you felt, the weariness that came without reason, the feeling of being stuck even when you were moving forward, all of these were signs that the spiritual atmosphere around you was shifting. You were not standing still. You were standing in transition. Heaven reveals that the delays you experienced did not stop your blessing. They shaped your character so you could sustain your blessing. Many people receive breakthroughs, but lack the stability to hold them. They pray for gifts they are not ready to manage. They ask for doors they are not spiritually strong enough to walk through. But you, chosen soul, were strengthened before the blessing arrived. Heaven built your foundation before building your future. Michael shows another vision, a golden thread stretching across time. The thread represents your life, woven through seasons of joy, struggle, silence, and prayer. But now the thread glows brighter at a specific point, your present moment. Heaven reveals that you are standing in an intersection where your past prayers and your future destiny meet. The answer you cried for is not coming from a single moment. It is coming from every moment that broke you, refined you, purified you, and lifted you. Heaven has gathered every tear, every prayer, every cry into a single blessing. But here is where Archangel Michael speaks with urgency. Do not let fear speak louder than faith in this moment. Fear is the final voice that tries to whisper lies right before the blessing arrives. Fear tells you things will repeat. Fear tells you you are not worthy. Fear tells you your season has passed. Fear tells you you misheard God. But heaven declares the opposite. Heaven says you are worthy. You are ready. You are aligned. And you are stepping into the timing that was always meant to be yours. Michael reveals that the answer coming to you will not require force. You will not have to beg for it. You will not have to chase it. You will not have to convince anyone. This breakthrough will arrive gently, peacefully, undeniably. It will carry a spiritual signature that your heart immediately recognizes. There will be no confusion, no hesitation, no second guessing. When it arrives, your spirit will say, "This is what I prayed for. This is what I waited for. This is what God prepared for me." You may even notice small shifts happening soon, moments of clarity, unexpected ease, sudden breakthroughs in areas that once felt stuck. These are the beginning ripples of a larger wave. Heaven is not sending your blessing in silence. It is sending signs ahead of it to prepare your heart. And now Michael brings you into a truth that ties everything together. The reason God says, "Open this before it's redirected," is because heaven operates by readiness. Blessings are assigned, but they are not forced. Heaven extends them, but your spirit must stay awake to receive them. You are awake. You are listening. You are aligned. Nothing is being redirected away from you. Not anymore. But heaven instructs you to remain present for the next revelation, because what is coming next will reveal the moment your spirit will know the blessing has arrived. This next layer is essential. It will help you identify your divine moment without hesitation or confusion. Stay here. Keep your heart open. You are walking deeper into the very fulfillment you pray for. Type "I walk in divine timing" in the comments if this message is resonating with your spirit. Blessing code 9911 is released for those who receive this word with faith. Beloved soul, as we enter this next powerful unveiling, Archangel Michael's presence expands around you like a shield of fire and light. You have journeyed through deep revelation, through layers of spiritual preparation, through hidden truths that only a few are willing to stay long enough to understand. And now, heaven draws you into one of the most important parts of this entire message, the moment where the unseen meets the seen, where the spiritual aligns with the physical, where the answer you cried for begins to take form in your tangible reality. Michael stands before you with unwavering authority because what is being revealed now is not just insight. It is activation. Michael begins with a divine truth that resonates through the spirit realm. Every blessing has a moment of arrival, and that moment always announces itself through the shift inside you before the shift around you. Many people wait for external signs, but heaven reveals that the first true sign of breakthrough is internal. It is the sudden calm in the midst of chaos. It is the unexplainable peace that settles over your spirit even when nothing has visibly changed. It is the quiet confidence that rises in your heart without reason, without evidence, without confirmation. These sensations are not emotional. They are spiritual. They appear when heaven is finalizing something already decided. Michael reveals a vision, a large door with a bright, golden outline. The door has been closed for a long time, but now it begins to glow. The glow represents the first sign that heaven has touched the situation you prayed about. Heaven is showing you that breakthroughs do not begin when they appear. They begin when heaven places its hand upon the matter. From that moment on, everything shifts, even if the change is not immediately visible. And for you, heaven's touch has already been placed. The glow around the door of your life has already begun. But the next revelation is even more profound. Michael says that the second sign of breakthrough is sudden release. Suddenly, things that once felt heavy no longer weigh you down. Suddenly, situations that once consumed your thoughts lose their power. Suddenly, people who once drained you no longer have emotional control over your spirit. Suddenly, you feel detached from things you used to worry about day and night. This detachment is not numbness. It is elevation. Heaven is lifting you above what once overwhelmed you. Heaven is clearing space inside you, so the blessing has room to settle. If you have felt a recent shift like this, heaven says the answer you cried for is already moving toward you. Michael reveals another layer. The third sign of an approaching breakthrough is divine interruption. This interruption may appear as an unexpected message, an unforeseen opportunity, a sudden conversation, a chance encounter, or an open door that was once sealed shut. You may receive an insight that feels brand new, a solution that comes out of nowhere, or clarity that suddenly settles into a question you have held for months. None of these are accidental. They are heaven's way of signaling what you asked for is being delivered. When God interrupts your life, it is never random. It is always strategic. Heaven also wants you to understand the fourth sign, emotional realignment. Before your breakthrough arrives, heaven begins aligning your heart with what you prayed for. You may begin to think differently, expect differently, or feel differently. You might feel yourself drawn into a new rhythm, a new mindset, a new level of readiness. The shift may feel subtle or dramatic. It may feel like a gentle pull or a sudden awakening. But this emotional alignment is heaven preparing your spirit to receive so that nothing in you rejects, resists, or doubts what is coming. Michael brings this message deeper, revealing the fifth and most important sign, internal certainty. This certainty does not shout. It whispers. It does not come from your mind. It comes from your spirit. It is the inner knowing that something has changed, even if you cannot describe how. It is the inner stillness that says, it's here. Heaven says this internal certainty is the final preparation before physical manifestation. When your spirit knows, the blessing is at the door. Michael takes a moment to address a crucial truth. Many people miss their blessing because they expect the manifestation to appear with noise, with drama, with fanfare. But heaven says that real breakthroughs arrive quietly, humbly, gracefully. They slip into your life the way morning slips upon night. Soft, gentle, certain. Heaven reveals that the answer you cried for will not come with confusion. It will come with clarity. It will not bring chaos. It will bring order. It will not push you. It will lift you. Heaven now reveals something sacred. The reason God warns, open this before it's redirected, is because the blessing responds to recognition. When you recognize the signs, your heart stays open. When your heart stays open, heaven completes what it began. Your alignment keeps the blessing anchored to your destiny. And heaven is confirming now that your heart has remained receptive, attentive, awakened. Nothing is being redirected away from you. You are still in alignment. But heaven instructs you with care. Stay sensitive. Stay present. Stay spiritually alert. The next part of this message will reveal how heaven protects a blessing once it enters your life, and what you must do to guard it from being drained, diluted, or devalued. This next revelation is essential for the next chapter of your life. Chosen soul, hold your place. You are walking into divine fulfillment. Type I see the signs of my breakthrough in the comments if this message speaks directly to your spirit. Blessing code 5155 is released to those who receive this word. Beloved soul, as we step into this next revelation, Archangel Michael surrounds you with a presence so steady, so deliberate, that the atmosphere of this very moment feels different from all the moments before. You have traveled far into the depth of this prophetic unfolding. You have received wisdom, alignment, preparation, and divine clarity. And now heaven guides you into a truth that very few ever reach, the truth of spiritual protection over the blessing that is coming into your life. This part is not only about receiving, it is about safeguarding. It is about learning how heaven shields what belongs to you, and how you must move to ensure nothing interferes with what God has placed on your path. Archangel Michael begins with a powerful revelation. The blessing you prayed for has already been released. But a released blessing must also be protected. Many people pray for breakthroughs, but do not understand that every divine answer attracts both light and opposition. Blessings draw angels, but they also draw envy. They draw destiny, but they also draw distraction. They bring peace, but they also awaken hidden resistance in the spiritual environment. Heaven is not warning you to create fear. Heaven is preparing you so that nothing catches you off guard. Michael shows a vision, a treasure chest descending from the heavens, glowing with radiant light. As it comes closer to you, a shield of bright blue flame surrounds it. This flame is Michael's protection over the breakthrough you are about to receive. The treasure chest represents the answer you cried for, your prayer, your longing, the very thing heaven has prepared for you in secret. But the flame represents something even more important, divine guardianship. Heaven is not handing you a blessing and walking away. Heaven is assigning protection around it, around you, around the path that leads you into your new season. Michael reveals the first truth about spiritual protection. Your blessing is covered before it arrives. Heaven has already placed angelic presence around the relationships, opportunities, or changes connected to your breakthrough. You do not have to fear interference because the spiritual realm has already moved to safeguard what belongs to you. Heaven does not wait until the blessing is vulnerable. Heaven protects it before it reaches your hands. The second truth is that heaven protects blessings through separation. This is why certain people have been removed from your life. This is why certain conversations fell apart. This is why certain connections suddenly dissolved. It was not misfortune. It was divine filtration. Heaven knew that your blessing could not survive in the same atmosphere you once lived in. Some people would have drained it. Some would have taken advantage of it. Some would have tried to derail it out of jealousy or fear. Heaven removed them before the blessing arrived, not after. You did not lose anything. You were protected from everything. Michael speaks firmly. Your blessing requires a clean environment. A blessing placed in the wrong soil cannot grow. A blessing surrounded by the wrong voices cannot flourish. A blessing shared with the wrong hearts cannot remain pure. Heaven is ensuring that your life becomes fertile ground before the blessing roots itself into your reality. This is why you have been feeling the urge to reorganize your emotional space. Why you have been sensing shifts inside you. Why you have felt the quiet need to distance yourself from certain energies. Your spirit has been aligning with heaven's cleansing word. The third layer of protection comes from your discernment. Heaven has sharpened your intuition in recent weeks for a reason. You may have noticed yourself becoming more aware of motive, more sensitive to energy, more perceptive of truth. You are seeing people more clearly. You are hearing spiritual signals more clearly. You are sensing danger before it approaches. These heightened senses are not random, they are upgrades. Heaven is empowering you to protect what is coming. Your discernment is becoming a shield. Your awareness is becoming armor. Michael now reveals something deeply significant. Protection is also built into the structure of the blessing itself. The breakthrough coming your way is not fragile. It is not easily stolen. It is not easily influenced. It carries spiritual weight. It carries divine authority. It carries heaven's approval. What comes from God carries God's fingerprint, and what carries God's fingerprint cannot be destroyed by human hands. Even if someone attempts to oppose it, heaven will dismantle every interference before it touches your blessing. But here is where the revelation deepens. Heaven will not only protect your blessing, it will protect your peace. For too long, your spirit has lived under tension, under uncertainty, under the emotional pressure of unanswered questions. But now, heaven is releasing a new kind of protection over your inner world. You will no longer live with internal instability. You will no longer feel easily shaken. You will no longer be drained by fear or doubt. Heaven is placing stability in your spirit so that when the blessing arrives, your inner peace can hold it, support it, and sustain it. Michael reveals a final truth in this part. The answer you cried for is not coming to enter your life temporarily. It is being sent to stay. It is being sent to grow. It is being sent to elevate your entire journey. This is not a fleeting moment. It is a foundational shift. Heaven is not giving you something you will lose. Heaven is giving you something that becomes part of your destiny. Chosen soul, stay near this message as we move forward, because the next revelation will unlock the final stage of your preparation. The stage where heaven reveals how to recognize the exact moment your blessing arrives and how to step into it without hesitation or fear. You are almost there. Your spirit can feel the closeness of what is coming. Type "I am protected" in my breakthrough in the comments if this message resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 3033 is released over those who receive this word with faith. Beloved soul, we have arrived at the final unveiling of this prophetic journey, and Archangel Michael stands before you with a presence more radiant, more powerful, and more certain than at any moment before. You have traveled through revelation after revelation, through layers of divine alignment, preparation, protection, and awakening. And now, heaven brings you to the point where everything becomes clear. This final part is the culmination of the message tied to the title itself. God says, you are on the verge of receiving the answer you cried for. Open this before it's redirected to someone else. These words are not poetic, they are instruction, timing, and activation wrapped into one. In this moment, heaven speaks through Michael to reveal what happens when the breakthrough enters your life, how you will recognize it instantly, and what heaven expects you to do when it arrives. Michael begins with a profound truth. Your spirit already knows the blessing is near. Your awareness just needs the confirmation. Heaven has been preparing you for this moment long before you knew what was unfolding. Every spiritual shift you felt, every emotional release, every sudden clarity, every unexpected peace, these were not random feelings. They were heaven's way of signaling that your breakthrough is already touching the edges of your reality. Michael reveals that the answer you cried for is not approaching, it is arriving. It is entering the final stage of transition, crossing from the unseen realm into the physical, aligning itself with divine timing and your elevated spiritual posture. Heaven now shows a vision, you standing with your hand extended, and a radiant sphere of light descending into your palm. The sphere represents the blessing, the answer, the breakthrough. But it also represents something deeper, your readiness to hold it. In earlier seasons of your life, your spirit may have felt unstable, overwhelmed, wounded, or uncertain. You may have prayed for blessings without feeling confident in your ability to sustain them. But the version of you standing in this prophetic moment is different. You are stronger. You are anchored. You are spiritually awake. Heaven reveals that you are no longer praying like someone who is begging. You are praying like someone who is aligned. And alignment attracts completion. Michael emphasizes a powerful truth. Breakthrough arrives when your spirit stops asking and starts expecting. Expectation is not desperation. It is recognition. It is the knowing that God is faithful, that heaven has heard you, and that what belongs to you will reach you without fail. You have shifted from hoping to knowing. You have shifted from questioning to trusting. You have shifted from waiting with fear to waiting with clarity. This shift is what sealed your blessing to you. Heaven did not redirect it because your spirit stayed open. Now heaven brings you into one of the most sacred revelations of this journey, how to recognize the exact moment your blessing manifests. Michael reveals that the first sign is stillness. Not the stillness of inactivity, but the stillness of certainty. A moment where your spirit feels full, grounded, and held. The stillness comes right before manifestation. The second sign is alignment. Doors that once resisted suddenly open. Opportunities that once seemed far suddenly approach. Conversations that once felt impossible suddenly unfold with ease. The third sign is divine orchestration. Things begin connecting with a level of precision you could never engineer. The fourth sign is confirmation. You will encounter repeated symbols, repeated phrases, repeated occurrences that mirror what you prayed for. These will not be coincidences, they will be heaven's fingerprints. Michael now speaks with deep authority. When your blessing arrives, do not shrink. Many people receive what they prayed for, but hesitate to embrace it. They doubt themselves. They question timing. They fear losing it. Heaven is warning you to resist this mindset. What is coming is meant for you. You do not need to prove yourself worthy. Heaven already determined your worth. You do not need to fear losing it. Heaven already secured your blessing. You do not need to analyze timing. Heaven already aligned it. Your only task is to step into it with surrender, confidence, and gratitude. Heaven reveals another layer. Your breakthrough will not be fragile. It will not be temporary. It will not be easily shaken. This blessing carries generational purpose. It carries healing. It carries restoration. It carries divine alignment. You are stepping into a chapter where you will see why the delays were necessary, why the pruning was required, why the waiting season felt so intense. Everything was preparation for this moment. Michael then speaks a truth meant to anchor your soul. You are stepping into a season where heaven will not only answer your prayers, it will exceed them. You prayed for one thing, but heaven is delivering more. You prayed for relief, but heaven is delivering restoration. You prayed for clarity, but heaven is delivering direction. You prayed for breakthrough, but heaven is delivering transformation. You prayed for a blessing, but heaven is delivering a new chapter. Now heaven urges you to understand the final instruction. Stay awake. Stay spiritually aware. Stay connected. Your blessing is landing, but heaven wants you to remain emotionally and spiritually open so you can embrace it without fear, without hesitation, without doubt. What is coming is sacred. What is coming is purposeful. What is coming is yours. This message ends its journey here, but your breakthrough begins its journey now. Heaven has spoken. The angels are moving. The answer is here. It is crossing the final threshold into your life. You are ready. Before we seal this moment, heaven invites you to acknowledge your readiness. Type "I receive my answer" fully in the comments if your spirit is ready to walk into the manifestation. Blessing code 4400 is released over this final activation. Like, share, comment, and subscribe if this message has spoken to your soul. Let others be guided into the breakthrough heaven is preparing for them too. Your engagement carries light into places where hope is fading. When God brings you to the very moment where your blessing enters your life, He also calls you to become a carrier of hope for others who are still waiting in silence. This final revelation, tied to the promise that your answer is arriving, becomes an open gateway for you to sow into the lives of those who need the same breakthrough. Scripture does not speak of giving as a transaction, but as a river, one that flows from hearts awakened by God's voice into the lives of those searching for direction. I feel led to say these words in the first person. I am inviting you, not for my sake, but because heaven is stirring your spirit to stand with this mission at the very moment your miracle unfolds. The theme of this message warns that blessings can be redirected. Your support ensures that no soul loses their divine moment because the light did not reach them in time. Your giving becomes prophetic, an act that seals your own blessing while activating a harvest in the Spirit. As you sow through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, may God release overflowing grace, open heavens, and supernatural acceleration into your life. Move boldly now, for heaven responds to faith expressed through action.